All right, so we're ditching those boring business suits today, huh? We're going deep on something you might not expect, how artists, creatives, folks like you can actually make LinkedIn work for them.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people think LinkedIn is just for, job hunting. But the stuff you shared paints a totally different picture. Like, it's a place where artists can actually take control, build a presence, and connect with, well, a way bigger audience than you might think. Art lovers, other professionals, the whole deal.
It's like this whole secret network you'd never find just scrolling through like your usual social media.
Totally. Think about it. Gallery owners, people looking to buy art, even other artists to work with. And unlike those other platforms where, everyone's attention span is like 2 seconds, LinkedIn's kind of perfect for showcasing what goes into your art. The
Yeah.
dedication, the process, all of it.
Okay, sounds like understanding how LinkedIn works is the first step.
You got it. One of the biggest things I kept seeing is that your profile, it's not just a resume, right? It's got to be like your art headquarters. That first glimpse into what you do.
And I guess the first thing anyone sees is that profile picture. Everyone seems to agree, ditch the casual stuff and what? Showcase the artist.
That's it. Like, imagine you're at an art fair, right? What vibe are you giving off? Your profile pic is that same first impression, but, online. Keep it professional, but let your personality come through.
And what about that banner image? That big old space at the top. Seems like a prime spot to show off your work, right? Did any of the examples really stand out to you?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I saw one artist who used this, like, panoramic shot of their studio, gave you a peek behind the curtain. Another one just zoomed in on a detail of their latest piece, really drew you in.
It's like picking the perfect artwork for that eye-level spot in the gallery, right? Got to make it count. The sources also mentioned nailing your headline. I love this idea of ditching just artist and getting specific.
Yeah, instead of just your job title, think of it like a tagline for what makes your art unique. Instead of freelance illustrator, how about visual storyteller bringing ideas to life through whimsical illustrations? It immediately grabs you.
Stands out for sure. Now the summary section. Man, I always feel lost with that one. But everyone seems to say, treat it like a mini artist statement.
Exactly. This is where you get to tell your story of like, why do you do what you do? What are you all about? The sources all said, make it a narrative, something that pulls people in.
Oh, they even gave a great example. A sculpture inspired by the human form, capturing the strength and grace of the everyday athlete. Short, sweet, you get it instantly.
Exactly. Hook them with the story, then bam, hit them with the actual art.
Like a curated exhibition of your work, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's saying the featured section, that's your space to do it.
It's like a real-life gallery show. Show different sides of what you do, styles, mediums, even works in progress. Give them the full picture. High-quality photos, obviously.
One article even had this link to a guide on how to photograph your art like a pro. I will toss that in the show notes for sure.
Super helpful. And don't be afraid to go beyond just static images. Videos can be really powerful too, Time lapse of your process or even just a tour of your workspace.
Like a backstage pass to how it all happens.
Eh.
And speaking of showcasing your journey, the experience section, it doesn't have to be just, day jobs. Right?
Not at all. People are saying, think beyond the 9 to 5. Exhibitions, residencies, awards, even those passion projects. It's like a timeline of your growth as an artist.
So instead of Capital City Art Gallery, you'd say 2023 solo exhibition, exploring the landscapes of memory at the Capital City Art Gallery. Way more impactful.
Shows your experience, for sure. Okay, now let's talk about actually building your network on LinkedIn. I feel like that's huge.
Because what's the point of having this awesome profile if nobody sees it? It's like your network is your net worth or whatever they say, right? But they all agree it's not just about racking up connections. It's got to be genuine.
100%. Start with who you know, classmates, professors, if you went to art school, people you've met at workshops, that kind of thing. Those are your built-in fans.
Yeah, like finding your people, right? But what about reaching out to people you don't know? Like those gallery owners or even potential clients. It can feel kind of weird to message out of the blue.
Totally get it. It's not about how many people, it's about connecting with the right people and being personal about it.
So not just blasting out a generic message.
Right. Like imagine you're at an art opening, right? And you see someone checking out a piece you love. You wouldn't just walk up and be like, hi, let's network. You'd start talking about the art, right? What you connect with. It's the same idea online.
Find that common ground.
Exactly. And that goes for engaging with stuff on LinkedIn too. Like it's a two-way street. You got to be part of the conversation, not just posting into the void.
So liking, commenting, sharing other people's work, all that.
For sure. Answer people who comment on your stuff. Be present, like you'd actually be at those art events. Mingle a little.
One article mentioned LinkedIn groups.
Yeah.
Said they were great for meeting other artists. Have you found that?
Oh, yeah. Finding groups for your specific thing, abstract art, digital stuff, whatever it is. It's like having a direct line to people who get it.
That's cool. So we've talked about making your profile awesome, connecting with people.
Mhm.
How does this all actually help your art career, though?
Good question. One of the big takeaways for me was you gotta have a content strategy.
Wait, so it's more than just posting your art.
Way more. Think of it like you're not just showing your art, you're showing who you are as an artist.
Okay, so like what does that look like?
Talk about your process, your inspiration, give some tips if you're feeling generous. The more you put yourself out there, the more people will see you as like an expert.
Oh, and hashtags. I didn't even think about that.
It's not just for Instagram. Think of it like what words would someone use to find an artist exactly like you? Then use those hashtags.
Smart. And when you're writing captions, because gotta have good captions for those amazing visuals, go beyond just describing what's literally there, right?
100%. Tell the story. What's it about? How'd you make it? What do you want people to feel when they see it?
It's like those little descriptions you see next to paintings in a gallery, gives you context.
And speaking of galleries, you don't have to do everything solo. Collaborating is huge, and LinkedIn's perfect for that.
So like reaching out to other artists you admire, maybe team up on a project.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to shoot your shot, even with those big names you think are out of reach. You never know.
Got to build those relationships, right? And when you do reach out, make it personal.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Mention something specific you liked about their work, shows you actually care.
Love that. The articles also talked about writing longer stuff on LinkedIn, like actual articles, to show your expertise.
Totally. When you write a whole article, you can really go deep on something you're passionate about.
So maybe an article about your creative process, or like a tutorial even.
Exactly. And think of it like the more you put your knowledge out there, the more the right people will find you.
It's like attracting your ideal audience. Now, one thing I wanted to ask about LinkedIn Premium, one article was raving about it, said it was a game changer for artists.
It's true, actually. One of the best things is LinkedIn Learning. They have courses specifically for artists, like how to photograph your art properly, even stuff about NFTs.
Wow, LinkedIn Learning, specifically for artists. That's wild. I got to check that out. It's like having this whole like professional development thing right there.
I know, right? And don't forget those little things recommendations. They're like mini testimonials.
Oh, right. Having other artists, collectors, whoever vouch for you, that's got to be huge.
Huge. And it goes both ways. Like, recommend other people too.
Yeah.
Artists you love, people you've worked with, anyone
Mm.
helps build the community.
Love that. Pay it forward. Okay, before we go too deep down that rabbit hole, one thing I did want to touch on is like keeping it professional on LinkedIn. I feel like it's easy to forget sometimes.
Yeah, it's a balance for sure. Like, you still want to be yourself, but remember, it is a professional platform.
So maybe lay off the selfies where you're like covered in paint.
Uh-huh. Yeah, probably. Stick to professional language. Be thoughtful in your comments. Basic stuff. If you wouldn't do it in person, don't do it online.
Makes sense. And on that note, about feedback,
Yeah.
not everyone's going to love your art, right? Well, that's okay. A couple talked about dealing with criticism gracefully.
Super important. If someone leaves a not so nice comment, take a beat before you react. If you want to reply, keep it respectful. No Twitter wars on LinkedIn.
Right. Choose your battles. Now, last thing I wanted to hit before we wrap up, like actually setting goals for LinkedIn. It's easy to just kind of scroll and hope for the best, but
Treat LinkedIn like any other part of your art career. Set goals. Make them happen.
instead of just, I want more followers, it's more like,
I want to connect with 10 new gallery owners this month. Something specific, measurable, all that good stuff.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
And be ready to adjust as you go, right? What works today might not work tomorrow.
Totally. Stay curious. Try new things. That's the beauty of it.
Love that.
Yeah.
Find what works for you. This has been awesome, honestly. I went from thinking LinkedIn was just like this corporate thing to there's so much potential there for artists.
It's been fun diving into all this with you. Remember, it's not just what you know, it's who you know, right?
Mhm.
So get out there, make those connections, and watch your network grow.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, for everyone listening, our final thought for you. What's one small thing you can do today to make LinkedIn work for your art? Until next time, keep creating, keep connecting. We'll see you all soon.